Hey everyone, it's Lindsay with Felt Flower Design, and today I wanted to show you how I use an Accuquilt Studio 2 to cut a lot of my different flower petals and different shapes that I use to make felt flowers. Now when I got into felt flowers, I researched a lot of different die cutting machines. I know that it's faster to use die cuts and there's a lot of different brands out there. The reason I ended up going with the Accuquilt is kind of twofold. One, I like that there's nothing, the word's not coming to me. It's all hand operated. There's no electronic element to this. Because I use felt, there's a lot of fibers that get into everything, so this is really easy to clean and maintain, and I don't have to worry about the fibers ruining the electronic component. So there's some cutters that you can like push a button and it will manually slide it through. Again, I was worried about the fibers ruining that in the longevity of things. The second reason, and even the bigger reason I went with this, is it can handle large dies. So this is the actual tray size. It can handle a die up to this size if I wanted to have one custom made. As well as, I found this was the most versatile machine. I can use Sizzix die cuts on this. I can use Accuquilt, Accucut. I've ordered some no-name dies from overseas that also work on here. So that's what I wanted to show you today. Again, this is an Accuquilt Studio 2. These machines are built and targeted towards quilters. I am not a quilter. I am a felt florist. So I wanted to show you how I make this machine work for felt flowers. So I'm going to show you how to do that on a couple different dies. First thing first, the Accuquilt Studio 2, comes with this adapter tray. It's super easy to store. The sides pull up and you can kind of shove it away if you want. But what I did order was this white tray. To be honest, I'll have to look. I can't remember if it comes with it. It's the Go die cut adapter for Studio 2 fabric cutter. So I'll put a link to this down below. But this is the adapter, one of the two adapters that I use all the time. So this big white one, it fills up almost the whole tray. Again, the Go die adapter for Studio 2 fabric cutters. And you can buy this through Accuquilt's site. I'll link to it. The second adapter that I use, that I purchased, sorry, these are all dirty, I don't even know what it's called. It's the tray adapter for Sizzix and Ellison All-Star dies. So this is purposely made for this machine so that you can use Sizzix, Ellison, and All-Star dies. I've actually never used Ellison and All-Star dies. I need to do some more research. So I'm going to show you how it works. Okay, so I'm going to start with using one of the Accuquilt Go dies. This one is Crazy Petals. You can see on here all the different shapes you want to make. I'm going to make this teardrop petal shape right here. I don't know if you can tell in the video, but I have drawn on there in permanent marker and outline because that tells me what size of felt I need to cut in order to, if I just want to cut out this one piece and I don't want to cut out all these pieces, I don't want to waste all that felt. So this tells me I need to cut out felt 2 3/4 inch by 2 inches. And then these lines help me know where to lay it on here as I'm going to put it through the machine. So again, we're using the Accuquilt Go die. Okay, any Accuquilt Go die works. I'm going to use my Accuquilt Go die adapter. So this goes in the tray. Okay, so you have your tray, you have your adapter. Now I'm going to put the actual die. You want to put the die so that the gray part is facing up. That's where the blades are. That's actually going to cut your felt. The other thing I should mention I really like about this, I can cut 4, 5, sometimes 6 pieces of felt at a time. So I've got 4 pieces of felt here that I've pre-cut. I'm going to put that on the little teardrop shape. Okay, tray, adapter, die, felt. And then what you need, the last thing that comes with the Accuquilt, is a piece of plastic that you're going to run the die through. Now you can tell I've had this for probably a year and a half. I need to buy a new one it's kind of warped. It's not really straight. It's got a bunch of crusty lines in there from it going through the machine so many times. And you'll see when I roll it through, the felt's kind of going to stick to it. It still works. I just need to order a new one. I haven't done it yet. So I'm going to lay this right on top. It also helps feed through the machine if you put the die at a little bit of an angle. It makes it easier to feed through the machine. So here it is straight. I'm just going to angle it a little bit, putting the plastic on, and I'm going to roll it through. It's super easy. It's not hard. My 5-year-old daughter loves to help me with this part. So take this off. You can see it's sticking to this tray. Easy as that. I've got my petal shapes. So that is with the Accuquilt Go dies. Let me show you a few of the other dies that I use. So I'm going to take this adapter out, and let's do the, this is a Sizzix, S-I-Z-Z-I-X die. They sell a ton of flower dies. Sizzix machines are probably the machines that most felt florists use, and they work great. I just liked the size and industrial nature of this machine. So this is the circle 1-inch dies. You can't really see, but there's quite a few little 1-inch circles on here that we're going to cut out. So I've got my tray. I'm going to add my Sizzix tray adapter. I'm going to put my die blades up. I've got 4 pieces of felt here, and I should also note I use the a wool blend felt, so it's a little bit thicker than the polyester felt you buy at most of your craft stores. So if you are cutting with polyester, you could probably even go 6, 7, 8 layers. Just depends. So tray, adapter, die cut, felt, the plastic. Oh, one other thing I should mention that just fell. Sometimes I found with the Sizzix dies or the dies I order overseas, I just need a little bit more depth for it really to get a clean cut. So this is literally, like you can tell, I took an old Amazon box. It's just a piece of cardboard that I'm going to put underneath this die to get a really tight, clean cut. Because I'm making a lot of little circles, I want to make sure I get a really clean cut. You don't have to do this all the time, but if you're running your dies through and you're noticing the top layer isn't quite cutting all the way through, but it's not hard to push through the machine, I would stick a piece of cardboard, maybe some cardstock, foam board, something like that, just to give it a little bit more depth underneath your die. So I've got my tray, my Sizzix adapter, the piece of cardboard, my die, felt. Plastic is always the last piece that goes on top. I'm going to roll it through. And voila. So you can see some of them are stuck here on the top, but I have millions of these little tiny 1-inch circles cut out. So you can tell that to cut this out, roll it through the die, takes me a minute, minute and a half. If I was to try to hand cut all of these, it would take me probably half an hour, and I wouldn't like how they turned out in the end. So I use these circles a lot when I'm stemming my flowers. Okay, the last one I want to show you, the last die. Let me get all these off here. This is garbage. Okay, so the last one, we're going to take out our tray adapter and the cardboard. We don't need that anymore. Is a die from Accucut. You can tell, you can see this one's a little bit thicker. It has a wooden back. I think Accucut is Accuquilt's like parent company or something. They target a lot of like schools or religious organizations, larger groups, but I like a lot of their shapes as well. And for these ones, you actually don't need any sort of a tray insert because it's thick enough. So I have the tray. I'm not going to put an insert. I'm going to put my die directly onto the tray. The one I'm using today is leaf number 2 small, really fancy name from Accucut. And this is like a standard leaf I use all the time. In fact, I might even have them make me a custom die where it's a larger die that's almost the size of this sheet, with probably like 12 of these leaves on it, just to save me some time. So I have 5 layers of felt that I'm gonna put through. Gonna angle it a little bit, put my plastic on, push it through. It's super easy. Comes out on the other side, and I've got my leaves. Easy as that. So leave me comments. Let me know if you have any questions, if there's any other demonstrations you want to see. Again, this was using the Accuquilt Studio 2 die cutting machine. I love that you can use all sorts of adapters to use any brand's die. You can also use the thinlit dies. You just need to add multiple tray adapters for that. I don't like the thinlit dies because you can only use 1 layer of felt at a time and it takes too long. But that is possible to do with these machines. So thanks. Again, I'm Lindsay with Felt Flower Design.